Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host, and I promise this podcast will have audio. I made a mistake. I learned something. Normally, I record these with an external microphone, and so the audio setting on the computer was set for the external microphone, which was not present. Those of you on YouTube may have gotten some good practice reading lips in the meantime. I hope you got your practice in because that one's going away soon. So, welcome again to That Shooting Show. It won't be that shouting show, and we've already done our morning business, so it won't be that show. It will be That Shooting Show, and I am your humble host. Want to thank our partners first. You know them, you love them. Targets USA manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet. CR Speed makes the finest gun handling gadgetry you can wrap around your waist or anywhere else. It is true. Hunter's HG Gold is the only eyewear that I wear. Here you can see the ones I just got. Love the tortoiseshell. Really, I mean, it might be a giraffe tortoiseshell. Doesn't matter. They're super cool. These are neat because they don't pinch my nose the way the other ones used to, so this is really cool. The AMG-lab.com Commanderson timer continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting that there time right into that there tablet. It works great. Let's see, that brings us to, somebody's yelling at the radio right now. That brings us to Outdoor Dynamics, remanufactures the finest ammunition on the planet, competition ammunition. And that brings us to shootingsportsinnovations.com. And we are, and also Walther is the title sponsor for the podcast and the title sponsor for AndersonShooting.com. Go check yourself out at PDP or any of the other Walther firearms, and they come with a money-back guarantee. So if you're unhappy in any way, they will refund your money, no questions asked. The only question they might ask is, you sure about that, bro? You sure? But they might not even ask that question, but you will get a refund. All right, so we are at an undisclosed location doing some private one-on-one training with a guy who's going to be even more of a monster when we get done. This particular gentleman was able to shoot a Grandmaster score yesterday on a very challenging classifier. And when we do that, we have got to imprint to self-image that this is a normal thing to do. And by the way, we are booking classes for 2024. So if you want to do a class in your neighborhood, or if you want to do any kind of private consultation on your range or my range, you just let me know and we will get that scheduled for you. Class sponsors can get the class for free. All you have to do is arrange the range. You can be the lone arranger and set up the range, get that ready to roll, and you will get the class for free. If you're curious about that, you just let me know. Steve at AndersonShooting.com. And yes, I know I'm a little behind on emails. I've been traveling for the last many days, and I'll be traveling for a few more, and then we'll get all those emails caught up, get you guys scheduled. So we'll take care of that just as soon as we can. I think that's and we still have some spots available for mental management this coming weekend. Saturday and Sunday is a pretty rare weekend. We'll be doing mental management then. Still a couple of spots left for that if you want to get in on that. As always, go to AndersonShooting.com, upcoming classes, and that's where you can find anything we're doing that's open to the public. Okay? All right. So, are you type A negative? And I want to tell you a joke before we get started. My wife is a phlebotomist. Draws blood for a living, Mrs. Anderson. She's a professional vampire. And I says to her, my blood type is IB positive. And she says, that doesn't exist. I said, no, it does. IB positive. You ain't stick me with no needle. That's my blood type. So there's a little joke for you before we get going. All right, so type A negative. So I define type A as somebody who sees perfection or failure with nothing in the middle. And the shooting sports that we participate in do not allow for perfection very often. So let's just review. If we see perfection or failure, and the sport doesn't allow perfection very often, what do we see? We see failure. And those imprints of I failed, I didn't get this right, I can't do this, that is the shooter that goes to the competition. The shooter who believes he never gets it right, he's never fast enough, he's never accurate enough, that's the person that goes to the match. Well, what you're telling me to do is tell myself I'm the best shooter in the world. Well, I didn't say that. Self-image will reject a lie. It won't believe it. But what you can do is tell yourself, I'm getting better at this. I just did something extremely well. And then that is the shooter that goes to the match, the shooter that is accustomed to doing things extremely well. It doesn't guarantee that you'll win, but it does guarantee, make it more likely that you'll have a winning performance. And boy, type A hates that. I ain't giving myself a participation trophy. That's ridiculous. I either win or I lose. Well, a winning performance is when you go out and shoot your game according to your current skill level with no regrets and very few mental errors. And that's made much more likely when we control the imprints to our self-image, right? Every time you do something, you are moving, well, in training, you're moving parts of that from the conscious mind, where it requires thought, to the subconscious mind, where it doesn't require thought. And every single one of those reps will send an imprint to self-image that is either positive and helpful or critical and negative. And the sum total of those imprints will be the shooter that goes to the match. The shooter that we're working with out here, private undisclosed location. The only thing I can tell you about the location is that the shoes might have scorpions in them. That's all I can tell you, okay? We just came to we didn't come to conclusion. We just reiterated out there and relearned that at his level, high A, master, GM, things are happening. The imprints to self-image are more important than the training. I know you don't believe me, but you will eventually. The imprints that you gain during training at that level are more important than the actual training that you do. Because if you leave the range believing, it was fascinating. This morning he wrote in his journal, I'm becoming a grand master. And he mentioned this morning over coffee and conversation that he believed it. I'm beginning to believe this is me. That's how it works. If we go out and we do a grandmaster thing, we could say, doesn't count because it wasn't a match. Okay, you've distanced yourself from that. Makes it less likely to happen again. I only did it once. Got lucky. Even a blind squirrel finds that acorn every once in a while. If you distance yourself from the accomplishment, you make it less likely to happen again. But if you reinforce the accomplishment, and maybe more importantly, reinforce the process that allowed it to happen, that's really important. Hey, I got a good reaction time. I fired good shots. I got a great reload. I got a grandmaster performance. If we think we can do those things again, that means we think we can get a GM performance again. If we think we can't do those things again, or it was lucky, or it doesn't count for whatever reason, it makes us less likely to be able to do those things in the future. Self-image always controls the amount of access you get to subconscious skill. And even if you don't believe me, you believe me. If you think about a stage you went to where you had a high level of confidence, you weren't worried about the results, and you knew you could accomplish the shooting challenge, you did great. What we teach in mental management is how to replicate that environment more frequently. Okay? It's as simple as that. So type A negative will occasionally get lucky. And here's the other thing with type A negative. We may have accomplished a lot in our lives being in an environment of negative reinforcement. Law enforcement, military is a great example. Negative reinforcement works if there's a team that you think you're going to let down, or you may let down. So you may think to yourself, I'm a lousy piece of excrement. However, I will not let down my team. That's valuable in a team environment. In a individual sport, I'm a lousy piece of excrement with no team to let down. It's not going to be anywhere near as helpful. And even if you don't believe me, I promise you, you believe me. So in training, you need to find something you're happy with after every rep, because you are sending an imprint to your self-image. You're either making deposits to confidence or you're making withdrawals. And if you make too many withdrawals, your confidence account goes negative. That's why the wheels fall off in a match. We make a mistake, that's one event. We talk about the mistake, now it's two. We tell somebody else about it, now it's three. Every time you relive it, you're making it more normal. So what you do is you think about the correction or the solution immediately, and you make that normal. It's very, very simple. So if you're struggling to get access to your skill, I promise you the answer is almost certainly negative imprints during training. And it's extremely important. You're on camera there, Mr. Undisclosed Location. Back away, stay anonymous. Are you okay with that? He may have just disclosed our undisclosed location. And I don't know how to edit that out. I don't know how to pixelate the undisclosed location, man. It'll be fine. So, today's going to be quick and short. Thus spoke my lovely bride, because we need to get back out on the range to accomplish our goals for the day. And we will accomplish our goals for the day. That's one of the things that we discussed. Don't set a training goal for the day that you don't know you can achieve, because something so powerful happens. When you have a track record of accomplishing every goal you have at the range, you begin to expect to accomplish every goal you set at the range. And I know you don't believe me right now, most of you, some of you, but I promise you, if you set training goals on the range and you achieve them, you'll expect to always be able to achieve your goals. It is magical. All right, time to get back out on the range. I am so sorry that the earlier podcast didn't have any audio, but I am 100% sure that this one will. And I want to thank the mighty Sean Sorrentino from North Carolina, Mr. Purple himself, for pointing that out to me. We're going to get this fixed. If you're hearing this, we already got it fixed. So we got it fixed. Everything's fine. And until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, on the phone, or anywhere else, be like me, do what I do, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, check the microphone setting, and get to work.